Superman is the guy in DC Comics and one of the first ever superheroes. While it would be fair to talk about Jon Kent, who deserves all the praise, I actually want to talk about the Superman from the 853rd century, Kal Kent. First of all, Kal enjoys the benefits of living in the future, like an advanced education, the ability to process vast amounts of information, and access to an artificial telepathic information network. But because so many alien species have married into the Superman dynasty by this point, he also has access to extra powers like Super ESP, 10 different alien senses, the ability to jump into the 5th dimension. He also has empowerment from his super son, which has given him force vision, like the ability to create light constructs, energy projection, magic immunity, and even more, because Superman wasn't already powerful enough apparently. Next up, Carrie Kelly is a character that is quite often not talked about. She finds her origin in the alternate reality where The Dark Knight Returns takes place. Kelly was just 13 years old when she was rescued by Batman from a merciless gang of street thugs. The girl idolized the Dark Knight and secretly spent her lunch money to buy a costume in the hopes of one day catching her hero's attention. Armed with a slingshot and firecrackers, Carrie targeted con men and eventually crossed paths with her idol Batman. Now, after saving Batman during a vicious fight with a gang known as the Mutants, the Dark Knight accepted her as the new Robin. Under the guidance of the much more brutal Dark Knight, she was an incredible Robin and would eventually take on the role of Catgirl, but she would go on to even become Batwoman, being one of only a few to fully take on her mentor's role. Starting off as the Star-Spangled Kid of the team Stars and Stripes, Courtney Whitmore is given the Star Rod when Jack Knight decides to quit being Starman. To continue his legacy, eventually she officially declares herself as Stargirl. As Star-Spangled Kid, Courtney used the Cosmic Converter Belt, which enhances a number of Courtney's abilities such as her agility, durability, speed, stamina, and strength, as well as allowing her to create star blasts from the stored energy of the belt. She kept this belt when she became Stargirl, now using the Star Rod as well, which allows her to fly, as well as absorb energy which she can project into a variety of uses such as blasts and force fields. Raymond Terrell was apparently born with a condition that didn't allow him any exposure to sunlight, or at least that's what he had been told. In reality, Ray's real father was Happy Terrell, a World War II hero known as the Ray. So it turns out Raymond was actually born with tremendous superpowers that only awakened with light exposure. Upon discovering his new powers, he actually went invisible for about 4 years. Ray is a being of light and has many abilities as a result. Once his body absorbs natural light, as sunlight or artificial light, he can direct the energy to rearrange molecules into any form, matter, or energy. With the projected energy, he can fly, project rays, beams, and bolts of destructive light, and create constructs out of pure light similar to a Green Lantern's constructs. Obviously, he can bend light to make himself or others invisible, but he can also do a similar thing in order to create illusions, and after consuming light energy, he can sustain himself off of it, not needing to eat or drink. Kyle Rayner is arguably one of the most powerful Green Lanterns ever. While he was thought to have been chosen by his ring at random, it was later revealed that he was actually chosen for his potential to wield the entire emotional spectrum, and that's what happened. During the New 52, blue, red, yellow, indigo, and violet rings show up and claim him as their user, with the orange ring eventually doing the same thing. After a while of struggling to balance this power, he does eventually gain mastery over every ring and becomes the White Lantern. Green gives him the ability to make hard light constructs, the yellow ring allows him to sense the fears of his opponents, he can use the caustic red plasma of the Red Lanterns, can teleport like the Indigo Tribe, and has caused others to experience love, which is the Star Sapphire power. The blue rings allow him to instill hope in others, and the final orange ring allows him to create members of his own Lantern Corps out of pure light. He gains the ability to rewrite reality and becomes omnipotent when he travels beyond the Source Wall. He is nuts. The Blue Beetle Scarab is what gives Blue Beetle their powers. I say there because the Blue Beetle has been multiple people over the years, with the most recent Blue Beetle being Jaime Reyes, and he is arguably the most powerful one. Once the Scarab latches onto Reyes' spine, it can manifest various different powers. When he is in danger, the Scarab automatically activates and encompasses him in a high-tech suit of blue beetle-like armor. This suit provides Reyes with a whole heck of a lot of powers. It can translate both human and alien languages, it's bulletproof and durable enough to allow Reyes to to survive the heat of a rocket launch and re-entry into Earth's orbit. The suit can also produce energy blasts from its hands that are powerful enough to discharge kryptonite radiation and neutralize magic. Arguably the suit's most useful ability is that it can construct objects out of nanotechnology, as well as transform itself into nearly anything. It can manipulate alien technology and apparently has access to WMDs that are apparently capable of taking out the Spectre and destroying worlds. Ghost Rider Volume 3 in 1990 introduced us readers to Johnny Blaze's long-lost brother, Danny Ketch. Danny was a really interesting Ghost Rider, and his character got some rather tragic developments and then redemptions along the way. It was Danny who first ever implemented some of the most famous Ghost Rider cliches like the penance stare and even the mystical chain used by almost every other Spirit of Vengeance since. Danny would at first be hunted down by his brother Johnny before Johnny realized he wasn't Zarathos, and the two worked together until Danny was seemingly wiped out by Blackout. However, his Spirit of Vengeance, his own ancestor Noble Kale, actually became the ruler of Hell and resurrected Danny. He had a whole storyline where he lost the Spirit of Vengeance, went a little bit crazy, started taking out other Ghost Riders and stealing their power. He fought his brother, became a regular Ghost Rider again, and now Danny currently possesses the supernatural ability to transform into the Spirit of Corruption, an armored warrior powerful enough to go against the Spirit of Vengeance. Captain America is a beacon of hope and justice in the Marvel Universe. While there have been a few people who have taken up the shield, none have really been as successful as Sam Wilson. When the super soldier serum that granted his vitality was removed from his body, Steve Rogers aged rapidly, forcing him to retire into a supporting role and pass the title of Captain America to Sam. But while Captain America had the super soldier serum to boost him up to his great heights, his close friend Sam Wilson did not, but he didn't need it. Through his own hard work, Sam has made himself into what some might argue is an even better Captain America than Steve. He upheld all the same values as Captain America, exemplifying all the honorable aspects of America, while doing so with a much different view of America than his predecessor. What I always forget about Sam is that he does actually have superpowers, in the form of an empathic link to birds. While Barry Allen is often recognized as the Flash, even though he himself is a legacy character taking after Jay Garrick, it's actually his protege, Wally West, who is the most impressive Flash to date. Wally is arguably the fastest person that has ever existed. He was fast enough to break the barriers of speed, whatever that means, and be the first person to actually enter the Speed Force. He was able to save and carry over 500,000 people 35 miles away from a nuclear explosion that had already detonated, including the people who were at Ground Zero, and he did it in only 0.0001 microseconds. That means that Wally West had to be moving at 13 trillion times the speed of light. It doesn't even make sense. He would have just destroyed the Earth and possibly reality if that was in the real world. Wally West is just broken. Kamala Khan has been a favorite of many Marvel fans as the new Miss Marvel, replacing Carol Danvers since her first appearance in 2014. When she first gained her powers, it was due to her being exposed to the Terrigen Mists and undergoing inhuman Terrigenesis. Kamala discovered that she was now a polymorph. Basically, she is able to share her mass through time with different versions of herself, allowing her to stretch, deform, expand, or compress her entire body into any shape she can imagine. Very recently, Kamala actually ended up biting the dust in a very high profile and pretty controversial move in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 26. Then, in X-Men The Hellfire Gala 2023 number 1, Miss Marvel was resurrected on the mutant nation of Krakoa. Charles Xavier then explains to Kamala that she was able to be resurrected because of her latent X gene, and that apparently he has known her to be a mutant for some time. Xavier explains that she is in fact a mutant and an Inhuman, something that should actually be impossible. So she is now a mutant, with her mutant power actually still being a mystery, although it may in fact be hard-like constructs similar to her MCU counterpart. But that is the list. Thank you guys so much for watching today on Top 10 Nerd. I'm Adam Andrews. As always, I will catch you on the flippy flop, but until then, just stay safe and peace out, nerds.